A few weeks ago, we took this bus on its first maiden voyage, or big trip, to find out what's working, what doesn't work, and to just overall enjoy the bus. But like everything, nothing's perfect, and we found some things with the bus that we wanted to fix. One of those first things that we found was water actually dripping in the front of the bus. Now in the front, it was dripping by the windshield and the cab area, and I think it's because of a few reasons. And the way that we found this out is that the trip that we took the bus up to in Pennsylvania, it rained the entire way up. So that's when we noticed some water dripping from the cab area, and we stopped to check it out and realized that the issue was actually some holes in the front of the bus that I forgot to actually patch up. And these were due to the roof raise and the old holes for where we had the mirror mount, and then also some components for the windshield wipers up along the rivet line in the front of the bus. Now I just need to make sure I seal those up as soon as possible so that no other water gets into the bus. We haven't had any water when this bus is stationary, but I'm assuming that just the water pounding on the front of the bus at 60 miles an hour is causing it to get in these cracks and then just drip down the front of the bus. Right after we made that stop and noticed that the water was leaking in those holes, we had one other issue, and that was with the ignition switch. I've been turning this bus on and off every single weekend for the past year and a half. Had no issues with the ignition switch, except the one time that I didn't want to have an issue with it. So the last couple miles of the trip, there was an issue that when you would turn the ignition switch on, it would keep it in the run position and not go back to the on position. So none of the accessories up front were working, like the defroster for the front windshield and the windshield wipers and the backup camera and pretty much everything in this front cab area. And also the key was stuck in the ignition and just you literally couldn't turn it to come out. So it was a pretty easy fix with a $25 new ignition switch, and we just popped it right in there. And yeah, it just plugged into the back of it. I made sure everything was lined up and perfect, and that was an easy fix, but it was very stressful when it was actually going on. Once we got to the campsite, we had to hook up the black sewer line, no issues with that, the shore power line, and the water line. Now, I had an older hose with me for the water line, and it just kept crimping up. And not to mention, it was way too long. So, to avoid that in the future, I think I'm going to get one of these retractable hoses so that I don't have to have any issues in the future with it crimping up or just weathering over the years. Now, I also had a slight issue with the shore power hookup, and it's not really any of the connections or anything, it's just that the line itself, like the extension cord, was not long enough. And I'm just worried in the future that I go to a campsite or an RV site that I need to plug in, and where I have the plug in the front of the bus is not going to reach where I actually can plug it in to get power. So I just need to buy a longer extension cord or an extra extension cord to plug into this one so that when we plug it in, it'll actually reach. At the site that we stayed at, there was some uneven ground that was around us, and it resulted in a very high step into the bus. Now, the step up into my driveway is not that bad, but I have got some feedback that maybe an extra step would be a little bit better because the first step is pretty far. And I did remember that I was able to grab a step or a slide out step from that RV that I got the windows and the chair and the oven from. So I found that in the basement, and here it is right here. I'm gonna actually just clean it up because it has this disgusting blue carpet on it. And I think I'm gonna bolt it or weld it underneath the stairs so that it slides right out and you have this extra step, which makes it a lot easier to get in and out of the bus. One of the other things that I noticed is that the door for the shower open, but I fixed that a long time ago with these child-proof latches that you're supposed to use on cabinets and drawers and stuff, and it works perfectly fine for the shower. But the refrigerator, this is kind of one of the first times we've ever had it stocked and the door stocked, so it's a little bit heavier. And it did open up once, so I had this temporary fix that I pre-planned, and it was just this kind of plastic outlet that I screwed into the side of it. But I am gonna get a latch or make something that will latch or close so that the doors cannot open when I'm driving down the road. So like I said, this bus isn't perfect like anything else, but I'm very happy with everything that I have accomplished in the past 16 months or 18 months with the entire build and where we are today. So if there's anything else that comes up, I will make sure I address that and the fixes or the changes that I implemented to make sure that it's set straight. So I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next video.